Something that is just so weird just happened to me. So I've been in an off and on relationship for like the last 4 or 5 years, and I felt like I've never felt the way that I've ever felt about this person in my life, and this is the person I want to be with, but a lot of trials and tribulations came with it, and things that shouldn't have happened. Cheating, a bunch of heartbreak on my end because I was so inexperienced with that part of life, because I had never loved anyone or had any really special feelings for a man at all. I grew up, don't want to blame my parents, whatever, but I grew up just afraid of men, and that men were bad and they only want to use, abuse, and hurt you. And so it was rare that I find myself open to men at all. And I've only been in two so-called relationships, if you can say that, for real, in my lifetime. And I was such a novice, and a certain amount of immaturity that came with that, because here I was in my early 30s, and I didn't know how to maneuver feelings and emotions that came with, quote unquote, being in love, or how to handle specific sort of relationships where you weren't the strong arm or the breadwinner, or where you weren't in control. You know what I'm saying? And that out of control feeling was a new thing for me to navigate, and not being able to control my emotions, whereas before I felt like I could, because of caring and not caring for an individual. So you operate out of that mystery and out of that power, and so what the other person does doesn't really affect you in certain sort of ways. So um I spent my time praying and asking God. I went through a bunch of feelings and changes emotionally, being like, why doesn't someone just love me? Like, what have I done that is so bad? You carry that stuff from your childhood traumas or whatever, or being rejected by people who are always supposed to love you. You carry that with you, until you're adult. Like, well, what's so wrong with me? Why can't I just find somebody, or why can't somebody find me appealing, or whatever, just for who I am, blase blase, or whatever I have to offer the world, blase blase. So, and I was probably single for about 5 years, 2015 to about 5 years, 2020, I would say, to late 2019. I was single, and I would just bathe, go to work, come home, drink, and lay down. Bathe, go to work, come home, drink, lay down. Bathe, go to work, come home, drink, lay down. And if I was hanging out with anybody, it was hanging out, drinking. And so I could give my mind some rest later on when I would be in the house by myself. I'd be like, okay, well, I had fun doing this and I had fun doing that. So I would meditate on that, so to speak. I guess that's where the Bible comes from, where it says, where everything's a good, pure, noble, meditate on these things, because it brings you a particular amount of peace, when you have those good thoughts on the inside, or what you think are good thoughts on the inside. So I would spend plenty of nights just crying, like, I just want to, God, can you send somebody to love me, send somebody to love me, send somebody to love me, send somebody to love me. But what I came to find out, through the years of being in an off and on again relationship, was that, you are called to love yourself, and to love God first, and then to love yourself. And if you don't have those two things in line, it's never going to amount to hill of beans for you finding someone that loves you. Okay? Because it's never going to be right. It's not going to be in the correct order. You're not going to get the same amount of fulfillment, because the only thing that I've learned from wanting somebody and desiring somebody, craving somebody to love me, is I learned how to love myself better. That's the only thing I learned from it. That's the only thing I gained from it. Everything I wanted to gain off of having somebody to love me. The marriage and the creating your own family and your own world of warmth that you could be in and you could emote and express in, and pour that unconditional love into somebody, have them, you're going to reciprocate that in whatever way that they could and pour it back into you, just showing signs that they care or whatever. Because family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's created. You create a certain family around you. If you don't have the blood, that suffices. But that's what I wanted, and that's what I'd always hoped for. I would spend a lot of time visiting this person, out of town when I was in the 4-year relationship that was off and on. Out of town, wherever they were, because their job would take them out of town, blase, blase. That's already a setup for us. So I would travel in and out of town, and those trips meant everything to me. I would get so excruciatingly excited, about driving 3 or 4 hours away from wherever I was located to visit this person, and making a weekend out of it. I look forward to spending my weekends doing that or whatever. And it's just like, as time went on and everything, it's just like I experienced such a burnout, and just the more I got back to loving myself and putting myself first, I'm just kind of like, I haven't got anything that I wanted in the 4 years. We haven't gotten married. I haven't had much of an emotional connection to this person. I found that the more I turned myself off emotionally, the better the relationship got. So you go ahead and figure that one out. The more tolerable it became, on the surface, but on the inside, I was still always constantly struggling with my emotions. This wasn't enough. I'm not satisfied with this, or this isn't emotionally fulfilling me. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. And so, this last bout, probably in the 4th year or whatever, he went to work out of town again, and a couple of things that happened.